There comes a moment in every thinking man's journey when he looks at his life not with sentiment, not with excuse, not with the emotion of self-pity, but with the cold steel gaze of responsibility. In that moment, he no longer asks, "What happened to me?" but rather, "What have I done with what I was given?" This is the moment when mediocrity dies and greatness is born. It is the moment when you stop reacting to life and begin to command it. We live in a world drunk on distraction, addicted to emotional reaction, and enslaved by the pursuit of approval. Men chase riches without order, seek success without sacrifice, and scream for victory while fleeing discipline. And yet, the truth, the brutal, liberating truth, is that money is not earned through hustle alone. It is attracted through precision, it is retained through discipline, it is multiplied through thought. The man who masters his emotions, structures his mind, and operates from inner clarity becomes the kind of man to whom money inevitably flows because he becomes a vessel of order in a world of chaos. The lessons I am about to share are not formulas. They are forces. Forces that once understood, once internalized, once obeyed, will bend the laws of economics in your favor. They are not just about how to make money. They are about how to become the kind of man money is drawn to, not temporarily but permanently, because wealth is never random, it is never accidental, it is never given. It is earned, not only by action but by identity. And identity is not what you say you are, it is what you repeatedly do, think, feel, and allow. These 15 lessons are not tricks, they are truths. And I learned them not from books alone but from the battlefield of life, where every dollar I gained or lost was a reflection of a deeper law, either obeyed or broken. These are not theories, they are tools. They are weapons. And if you take them seriously, if you take yourself seriously, they will turn you into a master not just of money, but of yourself. Lesson 1. You don't get rich by working hard. You get rich by thinking accurately. The laborer toils endlessly and dies poor. The thinker sits still and commands empires. The masses have been lied to, taught that hard work equals wealth. But if that were true, every construction worker would be a millionaire. The truth is this: money responds not to motion, but to thought, and more specifically to accurate, concentrated, emotionally detached thought. The man who thinks precisely, who sees clearly, and who builds mentally before building materially, he is the one who owns the land others walk on. Thought is the blueprint of wealth. Work is merely the scaffolding. Lesson 2. Emotions are expensive. Detachment is profitable. If you make decisions when you're angry, desperate, fearful, or euphoric, you are not thinking. You are reacting. And every reaction costs you. Every emotionally driven decision is a tax on your potential. The man who cannot detach from his feelings becomes a puppet of circumstance. But the man who can observe himself, who can remain still while others panic, who can say, "This emotion is not me," he is dangerous, he is powerful. He is the kind of man money trusts. Because money, like power, avoids chaos and flows toward stability. Lesson 3. Your self-image is your earning ceiling. A man cannot receive more than he believes he deserves. And most men are broke not because of external oppression, but because of internal limitation. They were taught to think small, act small, and expect little. And their bank accounts reflect the boundaries of their belief. Change your self-image, and your income will rise to meet it. Speak to yourself as a builder, a thinker, a wealth creator, and eventually your actions will comply. Autosuggestion is not magic. It is programming. And you are the programmer of your mind. Lesson 4. Indecision is the enemy of wealth. Fortune favors the bold, not the impulsive, but the decisive. The man who hesitates, who wavers, who second-guesses every move, will never command the respect of wealth. Riches demand clarity, decisions create direction, and direction attracts opportunity. You cannot drift into prosperity. You must march toward it, led by the unwavering voice of your own decision. Even the wrong decision made boldly is often more profitable than the right one made timidly. Indecision is mental poverty. Lesson 5. You are not paid for time. You are paid for value. Time is irrelevant to wealth. Value is everything. The man who earns millions in an hour is not breaking the rules, he is obeying higher laws. He is solving bigger problems. He is commanding more attention. He is generating more value. If you want more money, don't work more hours. Become more valuable. Educate your mind. Discipline your emotions. Refine your skills. Master your perception. Elevate your identity. Money is a mirror, it reflects the value you project. Lesson 6. Detach from outcomes. Obsess over process. The beginner chases results. The master controls process. True wealth is born when you stop obsessing over what you'll get and start mastering what you do. The stock market does not care about your hopes. Business does not pity your pain. Wealth comes when you execute relentlessly, with emotional neutrality day after day. You build, not because you're promised success, but because the process itself transforms you. And in that transformation, success becomes inevitable. Lesson 7. Clarity of purpose cuts through all chaos. Definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all financial power. Without it, you drift. With it, you dominate. Decide with finality what you are here to build. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Let your every action serve it. When your purpose is clear, distractions become laughable, opinions become irrelevant, and emotions become manageable. You are no longer a servant to the world's noise. You are a servant to your own vision. Lesson 8. Never be impressed by flash. Study structure. The poor man admires the car. The rich man studies the engine. One is entertained, the other is educated. In the world of wealth, the surface lies, but structure never does. Understand systems. Learn how money moves. Follow the patterns. Study the tax codes, the business models, the psychology behind transactions. True wealth is invisible. It is found not in what is flaunted, but in what is engineered. Lesson 9. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. Desire is weak without alignment. You may scream for wealth, but if your habits are lazy, if your thoughts are scattered, if your emotions are unstable, money will avoid you. Why? Because money is not sentimental. It is attracted to order, to clarity, to strength. Become the kind of man worthy of wealth, and wealth will seek you out. Wanting is not enough. You must embody. Lesson 10. Discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. Every man wants to be rich. Few are willing to become rich. That requires discipline, daily, painful, unglamorous discipline. Waking up when you don't feel like it. Thinking clearly when you're tired. Saying no to pleasure when your mind screams yes. Discipline is not punishment. It is purification. It is the price you pay to enter the ranks of those who command life rather than survive it. Lesson 11. Mastering emotions creates financial immunity. When the market crashes, when the partner betrays, when the loss strikes, the man ruled by emotion crumbles. But the man who has trained his nervous system to remain calm, neutral, unshaken, he seizes opportunity amidst chaos. Emotional mastery is not denial. It is command. It is the ability to respond with thought, not react with fear. And in business, in investing, in leadership, that skill is worth millions. Lesson 12. Protect the mind at all costs. What you allow into your mind becomes your operating system. And most men allow garbage, gossip, fear, distraction, noise. But you must treat your mind as sacred. Guard it like a fortress. Feed it only what strengthens. Refuse the opinions of the weak. Limit exposure to the news. Consume only what sharpens clarity, not what stirs confusion, because a corrupted mind cannot build clean results. Lesson 13. Money is not evil, but ignorance is. Reject the belief that wealth is immoral. It is not. Wealth is power, and power in the hands of the disciplined is a force for good. The real evil is ignorance of self, of systems, of principles. Poverty is not holy. It is a condition, often born of disordered thought. Money, in the hands of a virtuous man, multiplies impact. And if you wish to do good in the world, begin by becoming strong. Lesson 14. Everything external mirrors the internal. Your outer world is not random. It is a reflection. Your bank account mirrors your discipline. Your relationships mirror your boundaries. Your business mirrors your thinking. Do not fix the outside, fix the inside. Change your patterns, and your life will shift to match them. Control your thoughts, and your income will follow. Lesson 15. Power belongs to the one who controls himself. not others, not circumstances, self. Master your inner world. Your reactions, your discipline, your thoughts, your emotions, and the external world will begin to obey you because the universe respects order. And the man who has built inner order becomes a magnet for every force that creates wealth, power, peace, and destiny. Lesson 16. The world will try to shake you. You must remain still. The man who panics when the winds change is not fit to hold the wheel. Storms will come, economic downturns, betrayals, losses, delays. But understand this, the world is not testing you, it is revealing you. And if you are shaken by the tremors of the market or the opinions of small minds, then you were never rooted in principle. You must cultivate stillness, not passivity, but internal immovability. Stillness is not the absence of motion. It is the presence of mastery. It is the unshakable calm in the middle of the storm, born from the knowledge that you control what matters most, your response. Lesson 17. Never act without vision. Never react without principle. There is a difference between movement and progress, between motion and meaning. The undisciplined man confuses busyness with growth. He jumps at opportunity without vision, and he flees from challenge without principle. But wealth responds to order. To the man who acts with foresight, who delays gratification, who builds with the end in mind. When you operate by principle, when your decisions are born from philosophy, not feeling, you become immune to manipulation. You become unbreakable. The world cannot control a man who does not react impulsively. Lesson 18. Learn to think in decades, act in days. Poverty thinks in paychecks, mediocrity thinks in weekends, greatness thinks in decades. And yet greatness is not achieved by passivity. It is achieved by daily execution. The secret is in holding a long-term vision while executing short-term discipline. You must see yourself 5 years from now, mentally, physically, financially, and then align today's actions with that image. The future is not predicted. It is built brick by brick, decision by decision, day by day. Lesson 19. Success without inner control is a time bomb. It is possible to make money and still be a slave to emotion, a slave to addiction, a slave to approval, a slave to your past. Do not envy those who appear wealthy, yet live in inner chaos. Their fall is inevitable. Because money is a magnifier, it multiplies whatever exists within. If you are ruled by fear, more money will make you paranoid. If you are ruled by ego, more money will make you reckless. But if you are ruled by discipline, by principle, by clarity, then more money will amplify your peace and purpose. Lesson 20. You must outgrow the need to be understood. The disciplined mind is often misunderstood. The emotionally detached are called cold, the focused are called selfish. But you must remember, greatness is alien to the masses. Your clarity will irritate the confused. Your discipline will threaten the lazy, and your progress will provoke the stagnant. Do not seek to be liked. Seek to be effective. Truth is never accepted by the crowd until results become undeniable. And when they ask how you did it, you will tell them, I stopped explaining and started becoming. Lesson 21. Every thought is a seed, every emotion is a command. The mind is not passive. It is a fertile field, and it always yields what is planted. If you allow negative, disorganized, fear-based thoughts to dominate, you are instructing your life to move in the direction of failure. But if you train your mind, if you become deliberate in thought, intentional in focus, relentless in clarity, you give life orders, not requests. Thought is not trivial. It is causative. And emotion, when uncontrolled, is a misfired command. Control the thought, choose the feeling, direct the action. Lesson 22. You do not need motivation. You need mastery. The man who waits to feel ready will wait forever. The man who only acts when inspired will rarely act at all. Motivation is emotional candy, sweet, fleeting, and empty. What you need is mastery. Mastery of thought, mastery of routine, mastery of self. When you master your inner world, you no longer need to feel good to do what is necessary. You do because it is time. You act because you are committed. You rise because it is required. This is the mindset of kings, of builders, of legacy creators. Lesson 23. Personal initiative is the soul of wealth. No man is coming to save you. No company owes you security. No system guarantees you prosperity. The man who waits is a man who loses. Personal initiative is the spark that ignites every fortune. It is the decision to act without being asked, to build without permission, to move without applause. Most men live in reaction, but the man of wealth lives in creation. He initiates, he invents, he executes. The world opens to the man who moves first. Lesson 24. You cannot escape the mind. You can only master it. Wherever you go, your mind goes with you. And so long as you are a prisoner to it, geography, luck, or timing will not save you. The man who cannot sit with his own thoughts without panic is not ready for power. He must first face himself without distraction, without escape. Only then can he begin to sculpt the mind into an instrument of power. Meditation is not weakness, it is warfare. It is where you confront the chaos within and replace it with structure. Stillness is not emptiness, it is control. Lesson 25. Control the morning, command the day. The battle is won before the first shot is fired. The disciplined man wins because he prepares. His morning is sacred, a time of focus, gratitude, visualization, physical conditioning, and mental rehearsal. He does not reach for his phone. He reaches for power. The way you begin your day sets the tone for how the world responds to you. If your mind is scattered, your results will be scattered. But if your mind is ordered, focused, intentional, fortified, the day bows to your will. Lesson 26. The inner world builds the outer empire. Before there was a fortune, there was a thought. Before there was a business, there was a decision. Before there was power, there was clarity. Every external empire was first an internal kingdom, and every collapse began with internal disorder. If you want to build something lasting, begin within. Order your values. Define your principles. Master your emotions. Take command of thought. Wealth built from within can never be taken, because it is not money that makes the man. It is the man who creates the money. Lesson 27. Consistency is more valuable than intensity. One powerful day will not change your life, but one powerful decision, executed daily, will. The man who shows up every day, calm, focused, disciplined, outpaces the genius who burns bright for a week and disappears. Consistency compounds. It multiplies, it dominates. You do not need more excitement, you need more alignment. Decide once and then act relentlessly. Let boredom be your training ground. Let repetition be your proving ground. Let consistency make you inevitable. Lesson 28. Silence is a form of strength. Speak less, build more. The man who broadcasts his every move dilutes his power. There is strength in restraint, dignity in discipline, wealth in mystery. The world does not need to know your plans. They need to witness your results. And the more still you are, the clearer you become. In silence, you hear the whispers of intuition. You see the moves others miss. And you cultivate the kind of focus that builds legacies, not just moments. Lesson 29. Mental discipline is a daily practice, not a trait. No one is born focused. No one is born emotionally detached. No one is born with unshakable discipline. These are built, and they are built daily. Just as the body is sculpted through resistance, the mind is forged through friction. Every time you delay gratification, you get stronger. Every time you choose focus over impulse, you gain power. Discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. The freedom to choose. The freedom to create. The freedom to move through the world unshaken. Lesson 30. Power belongs to those who pay the price. The final truth is, this success has a price. Mastery has a cost. Wealth has requirements. And the question is not whether you want it. The question is whether you will become the kind of person who deserves it. Not by accident, not by luck, but by thought, by action, by daily war against the lower self, by total obedience to principle. The man who pays the price in advance through discipline, detachment, clarity, and inner order, he is the man who walks into any room and commands it, not because he asked for power, but because he became power. Let the world chase noise. You chase truth. Let others beg for approval. You build inner command. Let mediocrity worship comfort. you embrace the edge. Because in the end, the world does not give you what you wish for, it gives you what you are. And if you become unshakable within, you will become unstoppable without. You stand at the edge of two lives, the one you've tolerated and the one that has been waiting for you to claim it. The life you have is the result of the thoughts you've allowed, the emotions you've indulged, the discipline you've delayed. But the life you want, the one that speaks in whispers when the world grows quiet, is not out there in some distant place. It is inside you, buried beneath years of hesitation, confusion, and compromise, and it will remain buried unless you rise. Not someday, not when it's convenient, not after another round of overthinking, but now, this moment. Because no one is coming, and no one needs to. Everything you require already exists within you, not as motivation, but as potential, not as excitement, but as order. The only question that remains is this: will you command yourself, or will you continue being commanded by the noise of the world? The man who becomes rich in mind becomes rich in life. The man who owns his reactions owns his results. The man who disciplines his thought disciplines his destiny. And the man who detaches from fleeting emotion, from the poison of distraction, from the addiction to comfort, that man becomes unstoppable, because he is no longer dependent on the world to give him peace. He creates it. Let others beg for change. You become the change. Let others scream for fairness. You forge your advantage. Let others fight for attention. You build your legacy. Do not wait for the world to recognize your worth. Demonstrate it, not by shouting louder, but by building deeper, by showing up disciplined, by thinking accurately, by acting relentlessly, and by living in accordance with a purpose so clear that even doubt cannot survive its light. You are not here to merely survive. You are not here to prove yourself to the blind. You are not here to apologize for wanting more. You are here to master yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your principles, and in doing so, master the very forces that shape this world. Do you want wealth? Then build a mind that attracts it. Do you want power? Then construct a character that deserves it. Do you want peace? Then discipline yourself until chaos fears you. You are the architect. You are the engineer. You are the commander of the most valuable territory on earth, your inner world. Do not let it be ruled by weakness. Do not let it be infected by noise. Do not let it be governed by emotion. Build it like an empire. Protect it like a fortress. Defend it like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future is not a question of fate. It is a question of mental obedience. And if you obey the laws of clarity, of detachment, of inner control, then wealth will obey you. So the path is clear, and the responsibility is yours. No more delay, no more apology, no more permission. From this moment forward, you will think with precision. You will act with discipline. You will detach from weakness. You will master your mind. You will build your wealth. You will become the kind of man who bends the world to his will, not by force, but by the sheer gravity of who he has become. Not someday, not next year, now. Because power is not inherited. Wealth is not luck. Success is not granted. It is earned by the man who earns himself. And now, that man is you. Do not confuse silence with surrender. The man who appears quiet, unmoved, unreactive, he is not weak. He is calculating, he is conserving. He is watching the world scream and panic and overextend itself while he sharpens his edge in the shadows. It is the undisciplined man who must always be seen. But the man of mastery understands true power is not loud. It is felt. It does not beg to be noticed. It commands without noise. In a world obsessed with visibility, you must train yourself to become invisible. Not invisible in presence, but in ego, in reactivity, in insecurity. Your detachment is not avoidance. It is control. When you no longer need the world to applaud, to agree, to understand, you are free to dominate it. Your emotions are no longer bargaining chips. Your time is no longer for sale. Your energy is no longer wasted on convincing. You have become internally sovereign. The mistake most men make is thinking success begins when the world opens a door. But the doors that matter are not external. They are psychological, emotional, spiritual. And until you walk through the inner door of total self-command, the outer doors will remain locked, or worse, they will lead you into traps that look like opportunity but are designed to test the undisciplined. When you master detachment, you stop falling for appearances, you stop chasing applause, you stop reacting to every opinion, you begin to see. Because emotion blinds, but discipline reveals. Detachment doesn't kill passion, it refines it. It takes the raw chaos of emotion and channels it through purpose. What the weak call cold, the wise know as calculated focus. Detach from comfort, and you will grow. Detach from approval, and you will rise. Detach from outcome, and you will command it. Because a man who is not owned by emotion becomes a man who cannot be controlled by circumstance. He becomes the anomaly, the outlier, the one they cannot predict, cannot seduce, cannot destroy. Why? Because he is not ruled by the need to win today. He is moved only by the necessity of becoming unstoppable forever. You must train yourself to remain still when others flinch, to remain focused when others flounder, to remain strategic when others beg to be rescued. The market does not care about your feelings. Business does not reward your good intentions. The world bows to execution, not explanation. And execution, at its highest level, requires mental neutrality, the ability to act without the pollution of fear, doubt, panic, or pride. You cannot build greatness with a cluttered mind. You cannot hold wealth with trembling hands. You cannot lead a mission if you are still battling your own shadow. The greatest wars are not fought in boardrooms or battlefields. They are fought in the quiet hours, in the internal trenches where no one sees, but everything is decided. If you win there, the rest is detail. Most men are still waiting to feel ready, still waiting for support, still waiting for the right conditions. But the world has no intention of handing you ideal conditions. It hands you pressure. It hands you resistance. It hands you pain. And it watches what you do. Will you flinch or will you forge? The man of mental mastery does not wait for readiness. He becomes it. He does not seek certainty. He acts in uncertainty. He does not pray for less difficulty. He becomes more disciplined. He does not beg for rescue. He builds his resilience. He trains his nervous system to remain unfazed, his mind to remain ordered, and his spirit to remain uncompromising. The masses talk of dreams. The master moves in silence. The masses crave motivation. The master has protocol. The masses demand comfort. The master demands control of himself, of his time, of his emotion, of his focus. Because once he controls himself, the rest of the world begins to move at the pace of his decisions. There is a level of discipline so intense that it becomes indistinguishable from destiny, a level of thought so precise that it becomes indistinguishable from prophecy, a level of calm so complete that the world mistakes it for divinity. And that level is not reserved for the gifted. It is forged in solitude, in silence, in relentless repetition of mastery. If you feel fear, good. That means you are standing where you must choose. But do not ask to feel differently. Ask instead, what would a disciplined man do right now? And then become that man regardless of how you feel. Because your feelings are passengers. You are the one holding the wheel. The moment you start obeying principle over emotion, you become the kind of man who builds legacies. Detach from the noise, refuse the chaos, starve the weakness, build the vision, speak only when speaking serves the mission. Move only when movement aligns with purpose. Every step must be intentional. Every thought must be audited. Every emotion must be disciplined. This is how kings are forged, not in comfort, but in command. And make no mistake, the world will test your discipline. It will tempt you with ease. It will seduce you with comfort. It will offer you distraction in exchange for destiny. You must decline. Not with anger, but with certainty. Because your vision is not for sale. Your values are not negotiable. And your standard is not circumstantial. They will ask how you keep going without praise. Because you do not need it. They will ask how you build without breaks. Because you do not stop. They will ask how you stay so calm under pressure. Because you've trained for war in the silence of your own mind. This is who you are now. No one will understand until it's done. No one will believe until it's undeniable. No one will thank you until they need you. And by then, you will not need their thanks, because you will have become the storm they thought they could ignore. So do not flinch. Do not seek validation. Do not ask for ease. Ask for mastery. Then command it. Relentlessly, quietly, completely. There is a moment in every man's path when his old life no longer fits, but the new one has not yet taken form. It is a brutal, sacred moment, not of confusion, but of separation. A tearing away from the lies, the habits, the identities that once felt like home. This is the chrysalis stage of power, a place where comfort dies and clarity is born. And most men turn back here because the void between who I was and who I must become feels like death. But it is not death, it is rebirth. If you are in this void now, good, stay there. Do not rush it, do not numb it. Let it break what needs to break. Let it expose what must be left behind. Let it teach you what books cannot. Because in this season, you do not need answers. You need obedience to the vision. You need to wake up, train, execute, reflect, and repeat, regardless of confusion. The man who acts only when he understands will always be enslaved by the man who acts because he is committed. You do not need more plans. You need precision, ruthless elimination of what distracts, relentless repetition of what matters. You must build systems so tight that emotion becomes irrelevant, so clean that chaos cannot find a crack, so clear that even on your worst day, you are still more disciplined than most are on their best. That is what makes you inevitable. Not hype, not noise, not talent, systems. And these systems begin inside the mind. They begin the moment you wake, the moment you choose thought over impulse, purpose over indulgence, command over comfort. The mind must be programmed daily, or it will be programmed by default. And default thinking is the graveyard of greatness. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the architect of both. If your thoughts betray you, rebuild them. If your emotions sabotage you, recondition them. You must become relentlessly intolerant of mental weakness, not because weakness is shameful, but because weakness is dangerous. A single undisciplined thought can spiral into days of inaction. A single emotional indulgence can cost you an opportunity your future was waiting for. This is why you do not argue with your mind. You command it. You do not wait to feel ready. You move. You do not ask for permission. You decide. You do not analyze your fear. You override it. You do not debate your mission. You obey it. Most men live in a loop of delay, always researching, always preparing, always planning for a future they never touch. But the master lives in execution. He learns while doing, adjusts while building, expands while moving. The master is dangerous not because he knows more, but because he moves when others hesitate. And here is the ultimate discipline. You must become addicted to boredom. You must learn to love the dull, repetitive, lonely work of greatness, because success is not made in highlight moments. It is made in rituals, invisible, unsexy, unseen repetitions of excellence. The world worships intensity. But empires are built on consistency, on doing the thing that matters long after motivation has died. And if you cannot do that, if you cannot obey routine, withstand silence, delay pleasure, then you are not ready for wealth. You are ready for entertainment. And the world will sell you endless distractions to keep you weak, loud, and forgettable. But you were not made for noise. You were made for dominion. To dominate your time, to dominate your reactions, to dominate your vices, to dominate your craft, to dominate your mission until the mission becomes the movement and the movement becomes your mark on the world. Understand, mastery is not an accident. It is not a gift. It is not luck. It is the result of 1,000 acts of discipline when no one was watching. It is what happens when a man builds himself while the world sleeps. So you must stop seeking recognition. You must stop waiting for affirmation. You must stop explaining your path to people who will never walk it. You are not here to be understood. You are here to execute. You are here to evolve. You are here to embody the principle so fully that your results become louder than any justification. Let your silence become your sharpest weapon. Let your schedule become your sword. Let your emotional neutrality become the storm others cannot comprehend. Let your discipline build a reputation your words never could. You do not rise by being more emotional. You rise by being more exact. And when the day comes, and it will, when you stand at the peak of the mountain you built brick by brick with thought, with focus, with fire, with relentless commitment, you will not celebrate like the world expects. You will simply nod, because you knew from the beginning this was never about applause. It was about becoming. You were never chasing money. You were sculpting identity. You were never chasing validation. You were engineering precision. You were never chasing motivation. You were constructing mental armor. And now that it is forged, now that your name echoes through results and your reputation precedes your voice, now that even your silence speaks louder than their noise, you understand the truth that most never will, that the real wealth is not what you own, it's what you control. And the only thing worth truly mastering is yourself. Then steel your mind, for we are not yet finished. You have walked deep into the terrain where only the few ever tread, but now we go even further, past the threshold of noise, beyond the boundary of motivation, into the domain of unshakable control, quiet greatness, and invisible domination. This is where true mastery is born, not in the loud declarations of ambition, but in the silent execution of inner law. Listen and hear it clearly. The man who wins in the world is not the most emotional, he is the most aligned. Not the loudest, but the most ordered. Not the most talented, but the most disciplined in thought, in feeling, and in strategy. The world bows not to force, but to mental symmetry. And that symmetry begins with the death of emotional dependence. If you still crave approval, you are vulnerable. If you still need applause, you are exposed. If your energy rises and falls based on whether you are seen, you are not a leader, you are a performer. And performers may shine for a moment, but they burn out. Leaders endure, builders endure, masters endure, because they do not depend on emotional spikes to act. They depend on internal standard. You must now ask yourself the question that changes everything. Who are you when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when nothing is guaranteed but the process itself? That answer defines your destiny, because identity is not revealed in ease. It is revealed in repetition, in adversity, in invisible effort. And understand this, there is a certain level of clarity that kills confusion forever, a level of vision that silences distraction, a level of self-respect that will not allow weakness to live in your presence. You must rise to that level, not because the world will reward you, but because you demand it of yourself. The man who lives by principle no longer negotiates with himself. He no longer wakes up wondering what to do. His path is decided. His actions are non-negotiable. His discipline is silent, firm, unshaken, because he knows success is not random. Wealth is not luck. Greatness is not charisma. It is obedience to a personal constitution that does not bend when emotions change. You must build this constitution. You must write your code and then live by it. You must establish the rules of your conduct and enforce them with ruthless consistency. Because the mind, left ungoverned, becomes a liar. It tells you to delay, to shrink, to seek comfort. But the mind, trained, becomes a weapon. It cuts through doubt. It executes despite fear. It builds in silence until the world can no longer ignore its results. This is not about being robotic. This is about becoming regal. There is dignity in self-command. There is royalty in restraint. There is nobility in not reacting to the noise of the world, but responding only to the voice of truth. And make no mistake, the truth is always found in principle, never in impulse. Principle is what tells you to rise when emotion says rest. Principle is what tells you to execute when the mood is gone. Principle is what builds empires, while others sleep, scroll, and speak. Let others be swept by trends. You root yourself in laws. Let others chase fame. You pursue a structure. Let others flinch. You remain fixed. Why? Because emotional detachment is not a lack of feeling. It is the presence of vision. It is the discipline of seeing the whole board, not just the latest move. And when others are reacting to every fluctuation in the market, in the world, in the mind, you remain still, calculating. You understand the rhythm of reality. You do not panic when it contracts. You prepare for the expansion. This is how kings move. Quietly, strategically, without the permission or approval of the crowd. You must now build a routine so powerful that nothing can penetrate it, a fortress of habit so exact that even on your worst day, your standard is exceptional. A rhythm of execution that no longer relies on adrenaline or praise or ideal circumstances, just duty, just command. Because if you cannot be trusted to lead yourself in silence, you will never be trusted to lead others in battle. And whether you build a company, a movement, a legacy, it all begins with whether you have the will to say, I will not betray myself today. Not for distraction, not for emotion, not for fatigue, not for pleasure, not for fear, not for anything. This is the real war, and this is the real wealth. It is not in what you own. It is in what you refuse to be owned by. When you no longer chase noise, when you no longer explain yourself, when you no longer answer to emotion, but only to principle, then and only then do you become a force the world cannot calculate and cannot stop, because there is no defense against a man whose mind is his own. No protection from the one who no longer reacts, only responds with accuracy. No resistance that can stop the one who has detached from weakness and welded his will to a single, unshakable direction. And when you walk like this, when you think like this, when you build like this, you do not hope. You do not beg. You do not dream. You arrive. And when they ask, how did you do it? You will not boast. You will not explain. You will only say, I became the man who was worthy of it long before it arrived. There is a version of you that exists beyond fear, beyond fatigue, beyond failure. He is not built on motivation. He is built on decisions repeated until they rewire reality. That version of you is not found. He is forged. He does not arrive from accident. He arrives when the current self is dismantled brick by weak brick and replaced with pure, deliberate principle. This principle is not written in ink. It is carved into the hours you do not post, into the reps you do not announce, into the plans you execute when no one is watching, when no one understands, and when no part of you feels like doing it. Greatness is not crowned in stadiums. It is born in the invisible hours of unrelenting alignment. The world rewards discipline, but it pays in silence first. If you are not willing to be unseen, you are not yet ready to be undeniable. There will be seasons when your name is not mentioned, your efforts not acknowledged, your presence not recognized. And this is good, because this is where you prove yourself to yourself. This is where you stop performing and begin becoming. And when others quit because the likes dropped, because the audience grew bored, because they couldn't post the pain you remain, not because it feels good, but because it is what you do. Identity, routine, order, precision. These are the raw materials of wealth, and only the disciplined mind can organize them into reality. You must understand, money is not just currency. It is consequence. It is the effect of obeyed principles. It is the reflection of your ability to direct thought, command energy, and endure the boring parts of the process without compromise. You do not attract wealth through visualization alone. You attract it through vibrational structure, the unseen architecture of your decisions, your focus, and your frequency of self-respect. You must become intolerant of mediocrity, not in others, but in yourself, the low-level habits, the weak internal dialogue, the way you delay for the sake of fake comfort. All of this must be burned away, not with drama, not with public declarations, but with the cold, quiet blade of daily inner refusal to remain lesser than what you could be. And here is the truth. You must outgrow the need to be told what to do. If you're still waiting for someone to inspire you, instruct you, or supervise your evolution, you're not ready for power. Because power does not come to the obedient. It comes to the self-led. The man who writes his own laws, keeps his own promises, imposes his own standard without emotion, without hesitation, without compromise. From here forward, you no longer negotiate with weakness. You no longer explain the cost. You no longer react to discomfort. You command, you construct, and you conquer. Every thought that does not serve the mission is rejected. Every habit that dilutes the identity is eliminated. Every distraction that pulls from the vision is destroyed. You are not chasing wealth. You are aligning with the version of yourself who commands it without effort. You are not performing discipline. You are becoming discipline itself. And the moment that shift happens, the moment the line between what you do and who you are disappears, the game changes forever. Now hear me. There is a deeper silence than solitude, a silence not of environment, but of ego, a silence that is felt when you no longer explain your plan, react to opposition, or broadcast your intent. This is the silence of the master. And within that silence is precision, control, and terrifying consistency. You are no longer noisy. You are inevitable. It is this inevitability that bends reality, because the man who cannot be swayed cannot be stopped. The man who cannot be lured cannot be tricked. The man who needs nothing from the world becomes the center of it, not because he took it, but because he became the one who earned it without saying a word. You are becoming that man now. And in the final analysis, all that matters is this. You did not live by chance. You did not move by reaction. You did not speak by emotion. You built by thought. You acted by law. You endured by principle. You lived by command. And what did that give you? Peace without performance. Power without possession. Wealth without noise. And a name that required no defense because the work spoke louder than anything you ever said. So here we stand, not at the end, but at the threshold. No applause, no celebration, no validation. Only this one quiet fact. You now know. You now see. And once a man sees, he can never return.